Welcome back, my friends. I have a tale to tell before the tavern closes tonight. I have come a very long way and seen so many places. I have heard many stories, and I am happy to be here now to share them with you. So, gather round. The War of Sorrows spread from the dead continent to Lorelei quickly. In the east, large armies were raised to combat the demons. In the north, great heroes led those armies. Here, in the Wayward Mountains, many of the people who would end the war were born. In the deserts, great spellcasters mastered the spells that would help to finish the fight. However, in the southern Otarak jungle, the war was different. Under the constant monsoon of the Kianmei hurricane, hidden under the canopy of trees the height of towers, in the dark underbrush of the rain-swept forest, demons were winning territory. The Lord of Sorrow's mangled creatures found the brush an easy place to stalk, to hunt, to slaughter. They could hide high in the trees or low under rugged plants. Their hidden entrances to their maze were even better protected by the wild nature around them. The flames they spewed became all the more destructive in a place with so much plant life. The feline clan Nobbix, lion-like and wise. The giant clan and river clan dwarves who claimed the jungles millennia ago, and the few Alexites who had sailed across the sea and were allowed to settle in the south, were on the brink of losing the war. The kingdoms of the jungle were once all one massive religious empire, a state run by the Ikaret, the divinely chosen head of their chantry. The Ikaret proclaimed the demons were a test, bidding the people to be patient and trust that their gods would come and end this invasion. The pious people of the southern jungles did as instructed, but no relief came. By night, the demons tore their cities asunder, and by day, merchants and travelers were hunted on the roads. Many begged the Ikaret to reconsider his position, but he insisted that this is the way things must be. Luckily, one young feline clan Nobbix chose not to listen. Born with black fur and brilliant green eyes, Niku loved the jungle and his people. He was pious, praying and respecting the will of the gods, but he was also clever and wise. His fathers instilled in him a love of mechanisms. One of them was a shipwright, and had taught Niku all about the many devices a ship needs to function: pulleys, capstans, levers, and bilge pumps. He grew to be a tinkerer, always seeing what strange devices he could build with wood and steel. When the demons came for his city, now known as Rodalagurai, his family made it out safely, but Niku's eyes lingered on the roaring flames under the endless cascade of rain. Years passed. Now living in the capital city, Niku never forgot that moment. The way the demons descended from the dark sky, the flames spreading from home to home, the guards' apprehension to fight back. When asked again, the Ikaret refused to change his stance. There would be no fighting back. Niku had met so many refugees in the capital city whose stories were the same as his own. It was only a matter of time before the demons came for them there. So during the Ikaret's speech, Niku left and went to his workshop. Niku realized that he couldn't start fashioning weapons. Not only was he unaccustomed to violence, but that would violate the Ikaret's orders. However, if he himself didn't attack the demons, that might work. Days in his workshop, planing wood, drawing schematics, purchasing rope and testing his designs. The young Nobbix would purr at his desk while he iterated on his plans again and again until he was certain they were flawless. Then he took his device into the wild. Deep in the jungle where the bird's song is deafening and the rain is hot, Niku began to set up, a rope here, another there, the clicking of a device being primed and adjusted to perfection. Then he climbed up a nearby tree and waited. His fur was soaked by the rain by the time his quarry finally arrived. A demon with pale skin and a thin frame stalked out of the trees, sniffing the air for something. Niku had left the corpse of a small bird in the center of the trap and watched quietly as the four-armed creature knelt to sniff the dead animal. Patience was never his strong suit, but he knew he might only have one chance at this. So he waited. The demon stepped forward, its golden eyes scanning the trees. Niku waited. The demon's eyes widened as it spotted the young man in the tree, and still he waited. As soon as the demon took its next step, Niku pulled on his rope, setting a myriad of pulleys into motion. There was a sound of scraping and shaking, before out of one of the trees a net weighed down by heavy stones fell around the demonic creature. It screamed and roared, priming its fiery breath to burn the net away, but Niku pulled another rope, hefting the demon into the air and slamming it against a tree. He had killed it. The feline returned home. More days and days of work began, new designs that would operate independently of a user to trap, incapacitate, and kill demons. He started setting them up in the wilds, far from where most people would dare travel, checking them every few days to see if he had caught anything. The traps proved incredibly efficient. Niku brought his plans before the Ikaret and explained to him the efficiency of his work, how he believed it did not violate the will of the gods as it is simply defense. However, the religious leader would not hear it. He banished Niku from the Otarak jungle, and not knowing what else to do, the feline Nobix began to leave his home. Niku left the large city, 3 times the size of any of the capital cities in the north, and his eyes lingered on the walls as the sun began to set. Within that place were thousands of people, undefended. Years passed, and Niku did not leave the jungle. He simply set up a new workshop deep in the canopy where he could watch. He practiced his art, designing new traps, learning how to make explosives and magical items. His fur grew matted and dirty. His eyes became tired and cold, yet he persisted. His fathers still lived in that city, and he would rather die than let them be hurt by the inaction of a coward. Those who caught glimpses of him began to call him the Wild King, the cat in the jungle whose domain spread through all the land no hands had touched. 8 years into his exile, Niku noticed more and more demons throughout the jungle. His traps caught things more frequently, and he would see larger and larger patrols hunting for victims to bring to their dark master. He knew a siege was imminent. Toward the capital he went, a cart of his traps being pulled by a horned beast that resembled an ox called a bimrout. He rode into the city on his beast, many recognizing him quickly and running to tell the Ikaret that Niku had broken his exile. However, the rest saw what the young cat had become, the look of determination in his eyes. They felt pity. They felt shame that they let him be banished. By the time the Ikaret and his guards came to confront Niku, he had a legion of others helping him set his traps around the city. The religious leader was about to demand the young man leave, but Niku spoke first. He stood atop his cart and began to shout for all to hear. If the gods wish us dead, this is not how they would do it. It would not be some slow, agonizing, sorrowful end. We would be killed quickly, mercifully. This is no test. The test was inaction. The test was to see how long we would allow ourselves to be cattle for monsters. We allowed a man to guide us to the panthers, and then laid still so we could die. No more. He ran a hand through his long black hair as he spoke, his tail flicking devilishly as he continued his decree. No more will we sit idly by when we can grow. No longer will we lose neighbors and friends, and then be pacified into inaction by cowards. We have minds and thumbs. We can create a better way, with or without the blessing of the gods and those who claim to speak for them. No sooner than Niku had finished his speech, the sun had set and demons began to swarm towards the city's lights. The Ikaret began to run for his palace, but Niku just stood atop his cart watching the horizon. A swarm of demons flying low through the trees were caught in a net that froze and encased their limbs in ice. More demons approached by land, but were crushed under large logs and blown apart by hidden explosives. Niku just watched. Another unit of demons descended from the sky, but a machine launched hundreds of spears towards them, tearing their formation apart and bringing them to the ground. Traps that stopped the demons using a rapidly hardening liquid, traps that killed them with blades or force. Some used magic, catching fire or summoning lightning to strike nearby monsters. Others just used what Niku could find, sharpened spears and heavy stones. Through the night, flashes of light could be seen, and the screaming of demons could be heard all around the capital city. It was as though Niku had composed a symphony with his traps, a show for the whole jungle. Any demonic reinforcements found the entrances to their tunnels similarly trapped, ready to cave in and crush all assistance that may come. Niku had years in the forest to plan this. When the sun rose and the screaming stopped, Niku was still standing in his cart, purring as his tail swayed gently. The people cheered and heralded him a hero. The Ikaret was never seen again. Some think he fled into the jungle. Others think he was banished by his people. It doesn't matter. Niku began to teach others how to build his mechanisms, traps and machines. The people of the Otarak jungle began to build their cities on stilts and innovate upon the designs of ships and mines. Soon enough, the Otarak jungle was home to the most advanced technology around the continent. Niku's School of Mechanical Knowledge still stands in that old capital city, though now it is in the People's Kingdom of Saws, a place where industry and innovation reign supreme. However, there is a problem. The people of the Otarak jungle have done significant damage to their land. Mudslides are becoming more common. Farming is becoming difficult. And as the canopy thins, many species native to that area have faced complete destruction. They have noticed, and the kingdoms of the Otarak jungle have compiled their wisest folk to come up with a solution. New farming methods and plans to regrow destroyed parts of the forests. Technology and nature working in tandem. I tell you this story for a reason. Our world is full of those who will tell you the way things are and the way things must be. However, they are so rarely certain. If you have an idea and you think it will make things better, nothing should stop you from investigating. Practice your designs, plan and execute your experiments, and see what you learn. No king wants the way things are to change, but for us, lowly in the underbrush, change is a constant. They will tell you to use their broken tools. They will demand you follow their rules, and then change those rules. Become an animal. Innovate and grow, and you will become undeniable. Thank you all for being here tonight. I am the Bard Elianor. Thank you to Lorimer of the Stone Halls for playing the drums for me when needed, and Kaisha of No Man's Land for accompanying me with the flute. Next we meet, we will be speaking of a name you likely know. Deep in the southern swamps, a monster was born. Timber the Taipan, the assassin to change the world. The assassins of the garden grew under Timber's tutelage. They have had a stranglehold on our lands for many, many years. But to see the taipan as one born a monster is to allow the lords to tell your eyes how to see. Until then, I have a tome of tales from every nation to share with you all. I have seen many monsters, many heroes. I have learned of the magic offered by the gods and the magic humans can conjure for themselves. I have seen warfare, and I have tales of peace. I cannot wait to tell them all to you. Good night, and thank you. Legends of Lorelei is an immersive, fantasy fiction audio drama produced by Livewire Stories. This show is written and produced by Gwen Fulman. The music you heard in this episode was composed and performed by Gwen Fulman. The Bard is played by Gwen Fulman. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at Livewire Multimedia Stories to receive episodes a week early for only $2 a month. You will also receive updates on our projects, like the tabletop role-playing games or short films we've been working on. Check out our website at livewiretabletop.wixsite.com/livewire. Subscribe to us on YouTube, or join our Discord server in the description below. The best way you can support us is to show this to a friend. Thank you. And a special thank you to our Patreon supporters, without whom this wouldn't be possible.